I shot and killed people because they were black.
It offends me that you're sitting here breathing while she is not.
Are guilty of first-degree murder and guilty of armed robbery in this case.
I watched you kill my mom. I watched you on the internet. I watched you shoot her once, reload, and shoot her again.
These are just some of the happenings in the court on the eve of great losses made by killers for any reason. Some for the sake of race, religion, revenge, and even to draw attention to themselves. It's not normal, is it? They say they are mentally ill. Some see it as fun, but can it be so? It remains a mystery what makes people happy to take someone's life. Maybe they feed on what makes someone's family miserable, and some just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ronnie O'Neal. Ronnie O'Neal, who was found guilty of killing his girlfriend and his 9-year-old daughter and trying to kill his 8-year-old son at their Riverview home, received a life sentence in prison without the chance of parole. Throughout the murder trial, his son testified against him. The judge reprimanded him for his tone and threatened to have O'Neal removed from the courtroom if he continued to rant.
I will have you removed from this courtroom. I can sentence you without you being present.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't conduct yourself.
Understand,
Thank you.
He expressed his regret, but somewhat ironically, he said that raising his voice once again, everyone wants to assign responsibility and play the blame game without having all the information.
I've seen human beings killed at the hands of others in every way imaginable. You name it, I've seen it. Shootings, stabbings, drownings, suffocatings, blown apart by cars in the DUI manslaughter cases. Horrible things. This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go.
He received a life sentence with a minimum mandatory of life in prison without possibility of parole. He was diagnosed with PTSD and personality change by a psychiatrist, and he accepted this punishment with mild nervousness, causing no problems. Dustin Dwayne Armstrong. In 2013, the assault occurred when Ottawa police responded to 177 East Woodland Avenue on April 22nd and discovered Braden Young, who was 2 at the time, unconscious. He was transferred to the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics and subsequently the Ottawa Regional Healthcare Center. He was in serious condition and had suffered major brain trauma. Early in June of last year, once police had finished their investigation, Armstrong was taken into custody. The toddler's mother's lover was 20 years old Armstrong. At first, he said the wounds were caused by an accident. A plea agreement led to the sentence on Monday. Armstrong was first accused of many offenses involving child endangerment and malicious harm. The good news is that Braden is making progress towards healing. At first, it was feared that the kid would not survive, but less than a year later, he is back to walking and speaking. For injuring a toddler, Dustin Dwayne Armstrong, age 20, was sentenced to 50 years in prison. When the judge told him the verdict, he could no longer control himself and burst into tears, overcome with emotion, realizing that a large part of his life would be spent in prison. Many people in the courtroom gave way to tears, some from joy and some from sadness. Marquise Lloyd. A Florida court convicted Marquise Lloyd for the murder of Orlando Police Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. Nearly 3 months after, a jury in Lloyd's case recommended the death penalty, and more than 5 years after Clayton was slain in the line of duty. Ninth Circuit Judge Letitia Marquez delivered the judgment. During a search that started in December 2016, when Lloyd shot and murdered his ex-girlfriend and her unborn child, a jury convicted him guilty of killing Clayton in November. In January 2017, Lloyd shot and murdered Clayton as she attempted to approach him outside a Walmart while he was on the run, according to authorities. Days later, he was detained. According to court documents, Lloyd was found guilty of 5 offenses: carjacking with a firearm, aggravated assault, attempted first-degree murder of a police officer, and possession of a handgun by a convicted felon. He was sentenced to death.
We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant Marquise Lloyd should be sentenced to death.
He was not in a state of shock, as if he expected this outcome. He left the courtroom with a few comments and was escorted by the police. Nico Jenkins. Nico Allen Jenkins, an American serial killer who was born on September 16, 1986, was found guilty of killing 4 people in Omaha, Nebraska in August 2013, a month after he was freed from jail after serving 10.5 of the 18 years he was sentenced for a carjacking he committed when he was 15 and for attacks committed while incarcerated. The killings took place. Jenkins said that the ancient serpent god, Apophis, had ordered him to carry out the killings. In May 2017, he was given a death sentence after being found guilty of the 4 murders and judged fit to stand trial. Jenkins was born in Colorado to Lori Jenkins and David A. McGee. Jenkins' criminal history started when he was accused of carrying a pistol to school when he was just 7 years old. He calmly submitted this decision of the judge, knowing that everything he hid was revealed and that there was no escape for him. Michael Brady, just a little over 2 years after a planned prison breakout from North Carolina resulted in the gruesome deaths of 4 prisoners, Michael Brady was given the death penalty.
Jury unanimously recommended that the defendant be sentenced to death.
He had a lot of aggressive statements, such as,
"Your heart has a pack. You're responsible for the killing. In this case, you can pretty much call me Pack Leader."
Thomas Manning and Jack Wormack, Brady's attorneys, reminded the jury of Brady's turbulent childhood, how he was conceived by his violent father and adolescent mother, how he had developed problems when he was a young child and was given a bipolar condition and post-traumatic stress disorder diagnosis, how Brady's father did not want him to take his pills even after they were provided to him. Brady was detained in Pasquo Tank following the 2013 shooting of a North Carolina highway patrolman. Michael Potts is the officer who lived through that shooting. In the history of the state, it was the bloodiest attempt at a jailbreak. Andrew Womble, the district attorney, had pushed for the death penalty. Brady, 30 years old, will join the 143rd inmate in North Carolina who is now on death row. Since 2006, the state has not carried out an execution. Brady remained silent and resolute as he received his death sentence while being surrounded by 6 police officers. He occasionally turned to gaze at the jury members. Everything comes to an end, or so they say, some sad and violent and some happy. We mostly choose the outcome and sometimes someone else decides for us. Life is not a movie, and we are not actors, so that we can direct everything according to our plans. It rarely happens as planned, but it is important that justice always wins. Whether it was so or not remains a mystery that we cannot influence. They say it's fate, and we can't fully control it. We could see earlier how some thoughtless actions can seal our future. So use these examples to judge whether it is the right thing to do. We will agree that it is not, and what can this monstrous behavior lead to? If you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching.